Greetings, pretty honeys. This is Exotical Honey. Today, I'm doing a response video to Blunt Girly. She did an amazing video. Y'all, please go check it out. It's called Black Americans Have Their Own Culture, and I absolutely loved the video. I love the talking points. I also really love the conversation happening in the comment section from the other American exoticals and the other foreign exoticals who share similar values to American exoticals as far as respecting our culture. The conversation is just really needed, and I'm very grateful that Blunt Girly raised this topic. So I made some notes here so my thoughts won't be too all over the place. I want to keep it concise, so this will be a short video. I only have about 4 points I want to raise about this topic. First point is this conversation is a contribution to creating our own legacy. And I think it's really needed for our digital legacy, for our digital anthropology in the future. Historically, anytime these type of conversations were had, it was with Black Americans who were congregated in spaces usually comprised of like activists or intellectuals or religious leaders or sometimes educators. But now that we have the internet, everybody, no matter your profession, can come into the conversation. So Black Americans who may have jobs that aren't necessarily like involved in those academic fields can still contribute to the conversation. And I think it's absolutely necessary that we all have a voice in this space. As Americans, our perspective is needed when we're talking about each other, you know? And so I'm personally excited about that because I just feel very fortunate to be alive in a space and time where so many American exoticals are coming together to have these type of discussions online. And we're finally in one space that we've carved out for ourselves to exchange our experiences. Because America is so big, we're all spread out all over the country, and every state has their own unique culture. So even within Black America, we have all these very diverse cultures. And that's something that I really love about being American. It's because we have so many different ethnic groups just within Black America. I think that's really cool. And I love that now that we have an online space, we're able to, share experiences with each other. But additionally, we have a space to actually preserve our culture with these YouTube channels. And so it's vital that we document our history now so that future exoticals can look back with pride on Black American culture. I do want to state up front some housekeeping about this channel. I noticed in Blunt Girly's video, a lot of people were in her comment section very pressed, very panini pressed and upset that she was raising this topic. And that's par for the course anytime Black Americans begin speaking about our culture and heritage specifically. It gets a lot of people's panties in a bunch. And anytime we push back on their comments and, try to assert ourselves, they just get into a tizzy. And they can't seem to calm themselves enough to exit the conversation. So on this channel, I'm going to help them do that. No one who opposes or dissents against the conversation we're having here will be allowed to comment. I'm going to put filters in to just like block their comments so I don't even see them. To me, what is most important is protecting the mental health of American exoticals, as well as creating a digital space that is an educational and historical space in the future for younger exoticals to come here. And so I want the conversation to uphold and esteem the women in this space. So anyone who doesn't value the mental health of Black American exoticals, they will just be ignored. On to my second point. It's very important for us to preserve our history, uh, mainly because, as Blunt Gurley pointed out, our history is very young compared to other cultures in the world. Many other cultures have had a head start of like hundreds or even thousands of years compared to Black Americans. And so everything with our culture has like rapidly evolved and like quickly changed and shifted. And, um, I think that's very important for us to capture it as we're living it because uh, we've been able to do that thus far. And I think it's been really helpful for us to establish who we are as a people. And simple things like recording YouTube videos about our experiences can be very helpful in the future to the next generation. Even though we're such a young culture, we're only a couple hundred years old, we've outpaced so many other cultures. We've created music, art, and trends that have captivated the world. And I think that we should feel a pride in that because the world continues to consume and uphold our culture with their views and their clicks and always talking about us and always putting our name in their video titles or on their movies or our images on, their media. We're a testament to the resilience and creativity that Black Americans uniquely have in the world and that many other people covet. And so I think that preserving our history and preserving our culture is necessary so that the next generation has tools to protect themselves, as well as to have a mental fortitude due to the increasing verbal attacks and gaslighting tactics that have been exerted against Black Americans lately online. One thing I wanted to mention in my next point is utilizing our American privilege to take advantage of the resources that validate our heritage. So, as Americans, we have the fortunate advantage of living in a country that has public libraries available to us in every state. Depending on where you are, you may have to travel to a different city in order to go to your genealogy library. But every state has a genealogy library that holds the records about every county. And almost all states at this point have some of those records digitized. You can go to your local library and ask them how to access the state library digital records, and you could probably pull this stuff up from the comfort of your home. Some websites you do require you to go to the actual library to log in with their like library code if you want to access it for free. Like Fold3, for example, the libraries have a free membership, so you don't have to pay. If you want to look at it at home, you can pay them, but why do that when your tax dollars already paid for it, for your library membership to do it for free at the library? So anyway, Fold3 is just one example. They have all the records for military enlistment. And so any of your ancestors who were enrolled in the military, historical military records, their documentation will be there. And I think it's really cool to be able to go see, like, pull up these records, and they're like scanned, digitized versions of the actual paper records, and you see your great uncle's name, in World War II. Like, I just think that's really cool to be able to have that because America keeps their receipts. And because Black Americans have been here so long, we actually have records of our family members, um, you know, being a part of American history. It's not just something you're reading in the textbooks. It's actually your family's history helped to, create the foundation of what this country is today. And I think having physical receipts, literal receipts, will help fortify your pride in your heritage as an American. And so Fold3 is just one website that allows you to do that. You can also go to the Library of Congress and go look at like the genealogy sections there. They do have separate sections for Black Americans who may be FBA, like foundational Black Americans. And so they have different records about enslaved people. And they have different websites that will help you find plantations and slave owner records, slave sale receipts, and different things like that. And they also have a separate section for freedmen and freed women under the Five Civilized Tribes Dawes Rolls. And so I was able to find very valuable information there, even if your ancestors were not considered Native because they were Black. If they applied for their Native American citizenship and got denied, all the applications of the denied Black Native people are still there. So you can go through there and find your ancestors, on either side. I am, a blended Black American, meaning some of my ancestors were enslaved and then some of them were Native uh, Black Americans. So I have done research on both bloodlines. Um, and interestingly enough, my mom and my dad both have both bloodlines. So that's why I consider myself to be multi ethnic, because every Black American is not of the same Black American ethnic group. There are multiple ethnic groups in America. And I think that these conversations about Black American history are very important because if we're focusing on other people and talking about Africa and talking about other nations, then we're not focusing on our own history, which is super rich and super deep. And I've spent 10 years researching my genealogy and I'm still finding new things every day. So I think it's very imperative that we take advantage of the resources that America has given us, or their ancestors have given us, and our tax dollars pay for, to go to the library and go find your people's receipts so that you can know who you are and you can be proud of who you are and you can pass that information on to your children and your nieces and nephews so they can be proud of who they are. And when people come to our nation and try to tell our young people who they are, they can have a sense of pride in being able to stand firmly and confidently on who they are. My last point about Black American culture is the new philosophy emerging. So I adore Exoticals United because she raises a lot of conversations focused around sociology. And I think that it's very necessary for us to analyze the behavior in Black American culture so that we can, embrace the good parts of it and, you know, basically chew the meat and spit out the bones. Like, we can take what's good and we can leave out the parts that are not beneficial to us. So, uh, a part of that includes philosophy. Black American philosophy is a very new concept considering we are a new culture. We're only a couple hundred years old, but the way that Black Americans think and the best parts of Black American philosophy are changing here. The exotical space is just one example of how it's changing. Traditionally, we've all been grouped under the one drop rule and we embraced a monolithic Black identity as far as race is concerned. But now, exoticals have decided to step away and embrace our mixed heritage or multi ethnic heritage or multi generationally mixed heritage or Black heritage with admixtures. And so, this is a different philosophy. This is a different way of thinking for Black Americans that has not been really allowed, I'll say. Anytime anyone has attempted to do it, they've been tribally shamed within the Black community. So therefore, they just weren't allowed to do it without, some type of strict reprimand. Now we're pushing back against that, and we are embracing our heritages. And so this is uncharted territory for Black American culture, and this is a new chapter in American history, actually, which will shift the philosophy of the way exoticals think, the way Black Americans think of exoticals. Everything is going to shift in our self concept as a people, right? Um, the mass consciousness of Black American culture will shift as exoticals leave that consciousness. We are creating our own new mindset, our own new mass consciousness that embraces multi-ethnic heritage, that embraces multi-phenotypical presentation of Blackness. This philosophy is going to birth a new way of thinking amongst Black Americans, and I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think it should be nurtured. Hence the reason why I'm so fiercely adamant about preserving and protecting what we have. When something is newly birthed, you protect it, you nurture it, you take care of it, and you protect it from elements or protect it from predators. And because Black American culture is so new, we do still have to protect it and nurture it. And I think that these videos do that. Our thought paradigm is going to be something we bequeath to the next generation. And no matter how controversial it may be right now, it's going to be very necessary for the next generation of Black American exoticals to see that we've stood firm the same way our ancestors stood firm during the civil rights movement, the same way our ancestors stood firm in all of the things they've endured in this country. We need to come together in solidarity of speaking out. I really hope more American exoticals create their own channels. Pretty in Between and Exoticals United have both done videos giving, really helpful tools and tips on how to create your own channel. It's really not as hard as you may be thinking. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. So I really encourage you to just make your own channel. You don't have to have a lot of fancy graphics. You don't have to have a bunch of editing skills. Just use your phone and start recording. Tell your story. Other American exoticals need to hear where you're coming from. America is so big. We have so many states. We have so many people in every state from all these different ethnic groups, from all these different backgrounds. And it's necessary for us to speak up so that we can put our people on the map. So this video will be ending with that. I just want to give Blunt Girly her flowers, give Exoticals United her flowers for creating these spaces and this topic to address this issue. My channel will continue to be a space for American exoticals where I uplift us and spread love to our culture and continue to encourage all of us to do the same in our own ways. Peace and love, pretty honeys.